Fellow Zimbabweans, we stand at a very critical juncture in the history of our nation. Once again, most Zimbabweans are going through a period of debilitating poverty and misery. The majority cannot afford the basic necessities of life. The already high levels of unemployment have been exacerbated by the impending closures of major companies. Traditional big employers like OK Bazaars, N. Richard, and Triangle are experiencing big problems and are already seriously downsizing. Last year, 500,000 people could not go to school because their parents could not afford it. Unfortunately for this year, the statistic is even more ominous. Yet, Zimbabweans are watching day in, day out as their mineral wealth is being siphoned by foreigners with the help of the corrupt and wealthy locals to develop far-off lands. The situation in our hospitals remains dire and has been exacerbated by the decision of the United States government to withdraw its aid to Zimbabwe. The proliferation of the roadblocks in our country betray Zimbabwe as a country quickly sliding into a police state. Zimbabweans are among the most taxed people in the world. The lowest law is the taxation on goats, sheep, and cattle. This situation calls for all Zimbabweans across the political divide to work together for the survival of our nation. However, at the time that the Zimbabweans are looking forward up to their government to improve their lot and redress these insurmountable challenges, the government itself is preoccupied with attempts to amend the constitution and give both parliament and the president a third term. Zimbabweans have overwhelmingly rejected these amendments for the following reasons. A, there are clear signs that the proposed amendments are sliding the country into instability, anarchy, and chaos. B, the amendments go against the very democratic principles enshrined into our constitution that was enacted and overwhelmingly voted for by our people in 2013. C, the proposed amendments are basically self-serving. Members of the executive and parliament who are really enjoying power and privilege want to extend their terms of office solely to benefit themselves. D, the proposed amendments will exacerbate Zimbabwe's international isolation. This means that the current situation where Zimbabwe has no access to international credit and international markets has worsened. The president himself, which is E, at both international and national forums, pledged to respect the constitution and especially the term limit clause. He is being made to go against his word, thus sliding Zimbabwe back into international ignominy. We call upon all Zimbabweans to close ranks, irrespective of their political differences, and prevent the impending national disaster. All political parties, churches, civil society organizations, students, workers, and war veterans must come together and prevent this national catastrophe. We are happy so far at the stance taken by the church, civil society, war veterans, and most politicians within and without government to boldly speak against the desecration of our constitution. Full national discourse should be allowed on this issue. It is important that Zimbabweans who do not support this disastrous amendment should be allowed to speak to the nation in full freedom. The process of amending the constitution will involve 2 referendums. We call for free, fair, and credible referendums. All forms of violence must not be tolerated. We plead with all political parties to renounce violence as we navigate this very, very serious period. We have seen attempts by some quarters to precipitate violence. We just hope that this is not an attempt to justify in advance violence during the referendum. In view of what happened on Saturday, we call upon all progressive forces and members of the MDC in particular not to succumb to temptations for revenge. For revenge will mean engagement and participation in the race to the bottom. We hope all political leaders look at the bigger picture and see the need of unity as opposed to senseless political fratricide. We strongly condemn the violence that was meted against our members. As I said before, we specifically direct members of the MDC to shun violence. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come together in this struggle, we invite all Zimbabweans to start raising awareness to the generality of our people about the irresponsibility of these amendments. The MDC remains committed to working with all stakeholders to resist these undemocratic maneuvers. Greater cooperation and serious strategy are needed. Once again, we appeal to all Zimbabweans, regardless of political affiliation, to reject violence, to stand united in safeguarding our democracy and our constitution. The future of our country depends on our ability as a people to safeguard the integrity of our constitution. Dear brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, together we can defend our constitution, uphold our democracy, and build a better Zimbabwe for all. I thank you.